What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So there is a few things I did want to touch on with the VIP beta ending today. We all do know there's going to be an open beta soon, but playing the VIP beta for a bit, there is a few things I did want to talk about that I would actually say is going to make the final game even better, or something that the final game actually needs. So number one here, I wouldn't say it's most likely going to be a necessity, but I would say it's probably going to be something most players are definitely going to be asking for, and that is going to be the crossplay. Now, don't get me wrong here, I do understand not everybody actually wants this because, there could be cheaters or something like that. But the other big side of this, though, is people might actually want to play with their friends if they're on a different platform. Now, during that recent interview, though, the developer did talk about actually possibly adding crossplay in the future, and they are going to be open to it. So who knows, maybe something like this could be added, but let's take a few look at some of the positives and negatives of it. Now also, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. What do you think about crossplay? Is it good? Is it bad? Do let me know your thoughts. Now, a game that is a good example of this is actually the first one that pops into my head. That is going to be Motorfest, where the entire crossplay thing has a weird aspect to it. The reason why the crossplay design in Motorfest is so terrible is going to come down to one key factor. You can't even drive in free mode with people on a different platform. No, having crossplay on only brings other people from different platforms. For grand races, it also shows a summit being based on the main crossplay, but you actually can't even play with people, which honestly, the entire crossplay in that game really was an awful design, and the fact that they actually try to sell that game on the fact that it is crossplay is honestly just terrible. So if they did actually add just crossplay into this game, for example, players might not want to go against PC or, other platforms and only play with their said platform, at least having the option to do so is probably the better way to do it, because I do know you can probably argue that, yeah, people on PC could be cheating, they could be using like speed things, or who knows, I honestly don't know that much about PC and that, but I would say players are most likely not going to want to go against PC players, because we all do know PC players can be cheating and stuff like that, which is what people can argue, and I do understand that. But also filling up lobbies a bit quicker if you did want to do a PvP side, then yes, it could be better. And also the best thing about that is at least you can invite your friend if you're on Xbox. Maybe they're actually going to be on PlayStation. Boom, let's go play together, and at least now you can do it. So who knows, maybe something like crossplay is going to end up being added in the future. I do feel like something like that does have a strong possibility, with most of the player base probably asking for it. And there is also one last thing I did want to add on to this. I was actually looking through the comments and stuff, and I was talking to somebody in the recent video on this, and they were saying something along the lines of crossplay normally introducing like more issues into the game, or having more issues when the game does actually launch. And right after I read this, though, I started thinking to myself, I was like, wait a second, this is actually a really good point. That is probably why they most likely have crossplay planned for after the game does come out. That way they're not going to have like more server issues or like other issues they have to worry about. And that way they can actually add that later on once the servers and all that are set up better. And we're not going to have even more problems at launch. Do let me know what you guys think about this in the comments below. That actually makes a lot of sense, man. The next thing I did want to add into this list, though, is probably going to be pretty funny because I don't know if the actual game is going to have it, but let's definitely hope it does. That is going to be a small feature that allows me to sell my vehicles. Why is that? Well, when the game was bugging out before in the beta when I was playing it, I was actually trying to buy something like the 370Z. I kept getting an error, so I was like, okay, let me try again. I did end up getting that said error 5 times. I was like, alright, well, I can't buy the car, so let me go look at other cars. I was actually test driving some cars and all that stuff. I was cruising around, enjoying it. I logged off the game. Got back on it, guys, and guess what happened? I had 5 370Zs. I lost around $500,000 from that. The worst part is you can't sell your vehicles. I really do hope in the actual game it will give you an option to sell the said cars if you do end up duplicating and buying them. I would actually guess right now this is not going to be like Motorfest in the aspect of, you buy that car, you can't buy a second one, so you're going to keep that and boom, you pretty much have it, and it's like a collection. In this game, though, if you can actually buy the exact same car again, I'm going to guess right now and say you should be able to sell it. Maybe that's not going to be a feature in the said beta because it's, a beta, so it probably was something they did not have to add into it because they're like, okay guys, people are not going to try to sell their cars in a beta, let's put that in the actual game. So I would like to guess right now that the main game itself is probably going to have some type of selling feature. That way you're not going to be sitting in your menu like I am having 5 370Zs and you can't even sell them. I also do want to guess again though and probably say that this feature is going to be present in the main game when it does come out, and they most likely left this out of the beta. Imagine being able to sit on 5 or 6 cars if the game did end up bugging out and you cannot even sell any of them. That would honestly make no sense whatsoever. Now the third thing I did want to talk about in this video is not necessarily going to be in the game itself, but most likely would be part of it. That is going to be a free trial. Now a lot of players might jump in and go, bro, what are you talking about? Hear me out for a quick second, guys. If the game actually had a free trial, like something we did end up seeing with Motorfest, for example, to where you can play it, maybe you can actually hit level 15 or like 18 or even 20 or something like that. You know, get a feel for some of the cars, buy some of them, be able to play the game for a bit, and then actually decide if you do want to buy it. I would even say something like the beta build, just a bit more in depth, like maybe a few more events, maybe some more of the dealerships opened up. That way players can test drive some of the cars and try them out, and then if they did end up buying the game, all the said data they have will transfer over to it. What do you guys think about that? Would that be a good idea? I mean, we did see something like that once again in Motorfest. I feel like it's a good thing to do though, and we all do know the entire thing with like the closed beta and all that and the non-open beta. So why not release a small free trial that's similar to the size of the said beta we have before, or at least the one that's coming, and then that way players can jump in and try the game out and decide if they really do want to buy it. I feel like something like that would be a great idea, man, because like we all do know how games are at the moment. We all do know how games do end up releasing nowadays. So at least in that aspect, it's going to give players like a peace of mind to go, okay, you know what, man, let me download the free trial, let me try this out. I'll play it a bit, I'll level up, I'll see if I like it, I'll buy it, and then all your stuff will end up transferring over to the full game itself. I really feel like that would be kind of dope, man. The thing is, though, is that a good idea, or would something like that end up working, or is it most likely almost going to be too much work on top of the game itself almost launching, like if they did do a free trial? Is it going to come out right now? Is it going to come out like months from now? That is obviously a question I cannot answer, but do let me know what you guys think. Would a free trial be a good idea for test drive? I do feel like with the reputation of gaming, and especially racing games for that matter, it probably would not be a terrible idea to have something like that in there. There is another thing I did want to add into this video though, but it's probably going to be more of like a feature that I feel like players would most likely like to have in it, and it's probably not going to be a necessity. Funny thing is, I most likely have a lot more features I will probably make other videos on, so do stay tuned for those in the near future. But for this one though, guys, you know how you can go into a dealership and test drive a vehicle, like you can go up to that car, configure it, and then drive it. The thing is though, you can't go into your map, you basically spawn outside of the dealership, and then you can drive anywhere for around 2 minutes. One thing I was actually thinking about with this that would be dope, let's say you wanted to test drive the M4, maybe you wanted to take that car on like a winding road somewhere, but if you actually spawn by the dealership, you'll have to drive towards one, and by the time you actually get to one of your favorite roads, the entire time limit might be all the way down. What if you can actually go into the map and spawn over to a said road that you actually like? For example, maybe you want to spawn over to your favorite highway to do a top speed test. Maybe you want to go over to your favorite winding road to check out like how the car handles. This can also go for like an off-road vehicle. What if you wanted to test drive the Raptor like the Doom Buggy? Maybe then you can actually go into that car and spawn toward the dirt road that you like, and then test drive the car in that direction. I feel like this would actually be a pretty dope feature if they added it. Now I don't know if it's going to be like you're actually in the public lobby with a car when you test drive it. Certain cars I wasn't in a public lobby, but then again I think I was. And then when I was driving the M4, I was with other people, so if you did actually want to spawn different parts of the map to test it out, I don't see how that wouldn't work. I also do feel like players would really like having like the initial, I guess, freedom to be able to go anywhere around the map and test drive a car before they actually buy it. But besides all of that though, I would like to know your thoughts on this in the comments below. I would also like to know what are some of the main things you would like to see added into Test Driver. You know, what are some of the main features you would like to see in this game? Now this can legitimately be anything. This could be houses. Would you like to see a feature to where you can sit in your friend's car and cruise with them? What would you guys actually like to see in the game? Now I do know the roadmap is probably going to be shown, and who knows, it might actually be up when this video goes up, but as of right now I have not seen anything on it. But overall, though, I did want to give my final thoughts with the VIP beta ending today. I would say right now, guys, I like this game. Yes, it's not going to be perfect, and yeah, the beta is obviously older. Man, I feel like the amount of times I've said that, it really is annoying, isn't it? And I apologize for that. But I also do feel like players might jump into the beta and go, man, this is terrible. But then again, they're going to be like, wait, there's also a newer build, so this is probably not going to be as good as it can be, which is going to be great. But I really did enjoy the beta. The driving was so dang fun. And on top of that, I do admit I actually like the map. Like, it is a cool location. Once again, somewhere we haven't seen, which I would say is a nice change of pace in a racing game. Instead of going to like LA or like Miami or something like that, I do feel like having a different location is a dope design. It is really fun going really fast around the map, test driving different cars, being able to configure that said vehicle and test drive it to see if you actually like it. I love these features. But again, though, overall, guys, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. What are your top 3 overall things you would like to see in the final game itself?